3 days had passed since I spoke with the director. He listened to my report on the 3 missing D-class personnel, was silent for a long moment, and finally said curtly, "Keep the object contained. Gather data. No unilateral actions." I followed his order, but how you keep under control something that can vanish at any moment is not a thing I understood. That third morning I was woken by a call from the duty operative. "Sir, we have a problem." "We always have problems," I grunted, switching on the light in my office. "What is it this time?" "Social media, sir. A student from Henley posted a photo. A selfie, but in the background, the stairs. It hit me like a shock. I told him to forward the image. On the screen was a typical amateur selfie. A kid in a hoodie, a goofy grin, poor camera quality. But behind him, among the trees, the same concrete stairs were clearly visible. Christ! I stood up and grabbed the radio. Gamma 5, assemble immediately. Full sweep. Send me coordinates. Half an hour later, we were on the road in an armored van. The operatives geared up. Suppressed weapons, amnestics, signal jammers. "If the student's still there," I said, "secure him immediately. The photo must be deleted. Social contacts put under full control. No leaks." "Yes, sir," Captain Myers replied. We arrived on site, and there they were, the same stairs, standing in the park by the benches and the paved path, as if someone had left part of a construction project behind. People were walking nearby, not even looking. A cold feeling ran down my spine. "Perimeter," I shouted. "Move fast, nobody approaches." The team threw up barriers, disguising it as a police exercise. I stepped closer and put my hand on the concrete. The same cold, grainy material. The treads looked completely ordinary. Even the rain mud remained. "There." "Ordinary?" one of the agents said quietly. "Don't fool yourself," I cut in. 3 people already didn't come back. A few meters from the object, the kid from the photo sat on a bench in the same hoodie, filming video on his phone, narrating. "Guys, look at these weird stairs." Just in the middle of the park, like nothing around. I motioned to the operatives. 2 moved up from behind, threw a black hood over his head, and quickly escorted him to the vehicle. The people nearby hadn't even had time to register what was happening. "Phone, social feeds, accounts, wipe everything," I said. "Work fast, before the object disappears." I stood and watched the stairs. They waited silently, the same indifferent thing as in the woods 3 days ago. And I understood, if they'd appeared here, in the town, this was only the beginning. 3 days had passed since we removed the student and wiped his accounts. The director was still away on assignment, his communication cutting in and out, or perhaps intentionally so. The morning started the same as the last one's, endless meetings and replaying recordings. I had already worked through several scenarios. Why the stairs appear, why they disappear right after the 3rd disappearance, how to stop this chain. Answers, 0. Only assumptions and a queue of new procedures. At 9:14, the automated monitoring system sent a short notification. Anomaly. Localized unstable object. Coordinates. Internal technical corridor. C-block sector. I looked at the screen. It was our own eastern technical corridor, not far from the chemical storage and ventilation shafts. My heart skipped. "Mayers, confirm the position." My voice was calm, but inside my chest everything pounded. "Confirmed, sir. Camera 12C shows." "Yes." He paused. "The stairs are standing in the corridor near the tech division." I rushed there with a CUMS kit frequency jammer key and a tablet with the tunnel maps. Took the elevator down, bypassed the double doors, past the security post, and already heard the operators whispering on retransmission. At the site were Gamma 5 and 2 tech teams. The stairs stood where usually the inspection engineer passes every Friday. 6 steps, concrete, DAMP with condensation, as if installed only yesterday. The workers nearby had fallen silent and retreated behind the barrier. "No one approaches without my order," I said into the radio, though it was also for myself. "Only drones and sensors, no humans." We followed the new protocol to the letter. No human ascents without the director's clearance. Remote reconnaissance only. I ordered 2 research drones deployed, Raven A and Raven B, newly tested, armored, built-in LiDAR, multi-channel cameras, with all transmitters shut off except the protected direct channel to our server. "Raven A ascending," confirmed Technician Liu and pressed start. I looked at the screen. The camera passed the first, second, third step. No noise, nothing unusual. On the 4th, Raven initiated a LiDAR scan and sent back a point cloud, typical concrete with minor texture. On the 5th, there was a short pulse in induction readings, but nothing critical. Raven approaching last step. "Sir, what's the plan?" Liu's voice was stretched thin. "Record all channels. No autonomous decisions. If signal is lost, leave the drones in. Place and start data. Recovery." I glanced at the clock, 9:29. The Raven's camera showed the final step. By protocol, it was to scan the space above and record everything. In that second, the signal died. The screen flickered with white noise, then loss of telemetry. The server registered that Raven A had stopped transmitting and was unresponsive. "We've lost Raven A," someone whispered. "Cut power," I ordered. "Begin return procedure for Raven B." While the techs tried to re-establish the channel, Raven B began its ascent. Again, first 5 steps clean. On the 6th step, signal loss. But it wasn't just the drone. The security system logged a simultaneous brief drop in electrical background, as if a local pocket of energy just switched off for a moment. 30 seconds later, we had confirmation. Raven B was gone. Both units dead. Their frames visible on the last frozen frames, but no video, no sensor output. After that, the stairs dissolved. Only ozone in the air, and a faint dust settling. "They don't depend on biology," muttered Dr. Hen, who should have been away on assignment, but had arrived urgently, standing there in his sleek gray suit, staring at the spot where the steps had been. "If we're dealing with something that displaces space itself, machines won't change anything." A chill settled in me. If even armored machines vanish on the last step, we were facing a whole other category of threat. Not just a paradox portal, but an operation on reality itself. "Base is under full lockdown," I said. "No civilian exits. Ascents prohibited. Amnestics and speakers on standby. Administrative communications restricted." And then the last thing I wanted happened. Through the rusted door of the maintenance room stepped Prame, a junior comms tech, often on night shifts. He tripped on the barrier, and, unaware of the situation, walked toward the stairs. Stepping back, Mayers shouted, but his cry drowned in the noise of metal bars clanging on a portable unit. Prem raised his hand, as if to say it's fine, and took another step onto the last one. A sharp pang hit my chest. He was standing on the final step, staring straight at me, pale and empty all at once. Then gone. No scream, no trace, no remains. Only emptiness where his foot had been a moment before. "Knock on every source we have," I muttered, though I didn't know who to knock to. Who authorized personnel to be here? Who let him in? No one could answer. Prem had never attempted the stairs. He was just in the wrong place at the wrong time, and that was worse than any projection. Now, when the object had appeared inside the base and taken not just D class, but our own staff, it became a political, ethical, and tactical catastrophe. "Rotate the watch posts," I told someone nearby. "But no one is allowed near. All witnesses isolate. Amnestics Class B, prepare distribution. Notify the director immediately." I felt the weight of their absence pressing against the clock on the wall. Responsibility for the vanished now lay personally on me. The director was away, and I, temporarily, had authority to issue orders. But I also had his promise: do not risk people pointlessly. Yet, even armored machines had now proven pointless. "Summon Master Team Analytics," I ordered. "I want modeling of what happens at the final step, and immediate psychological support for staff. This will hit hard." No one objected. People moved, subdued. The base swayed between panic and discipline. All knew that if information leaked, it would explode publicly, and then control would be gone. I thought about the director, who insisted don't involve personnel, and already knew his order would be ignored until things turned truly bad. And truly bad meant when the stairs appeared in the residential wing where families of staff slept. That day I spent almost entirely in meetings. We replayed the Ravens' footage, isolated their last frames, ran simulations, and concluded that on the final step, a local state transition of space occurred. We didn't know to where, only that it wasn't relocation into space, but rather switching off from our state, with simultaneous shutdown of all data channels. Night dropped on the base like a heavy blanket. I sat in my office, staring at the map of recent appearances, and realized we had 2 points. 1. The object is becoming more frequent and chooses locations. 2. It always takes 3 subjects before each relocation, and now, after the first 3 were D-class, the second 3 a D-class in the mall, the student, and the third set are Raven A, Raven B, and Prem, the rule of 3 still held, but its essence had changed. I don't know what's worse, that the object is learning, or that it already knew the rule and is now applying it. I ended the day with the order: cut access to all external cameras, switch to local reserve circuits, prepare amnestic packages for witnesses, and begin talks with Central Directorate on transitioning to full quarantine. Before lying down, I wrote one more note in my journal. If the stairs appear again, and if there is another last step, we'll need something independent of matter and data transfer. We must find a way to leave a mark, something space cannot switch off, an imprint not tied to information channels. I didn't know if it was possible, but had no other options. And while I tried to form a plan, in the corner of my office sat a box of amnestics and 2 inert flash drives with the Raven's last footage. I stared at them and thought, if I send people again, how many will vanish before we understand? And if we do nothing, how long before the stairs appear in the children's dormitory wing? I didn't sleep that night. I thought of 6 steps, the empty space at the last one, and the hooded boy who had once posted a selfie. And I knew one thing. The next appearance would change the rules of the game forever.